most welcome to tonight's tutorial. Very brief and short. I would like to cover some areas concerning the promotion aptitude test. If this is your first time, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and like, subscribe if this is your first time. And it has been a pleasure of coming to you once again this evening. We'd like to continue with our promotion aptitude test discussions and some of the questions areas that we need to look at to help us pass our promotion aptitude test. Like and subscribe. My discussion and very important one tonight. Tonight we're looking at some few questions areas, and we say goodbye to today, and with the mental challenge that went through this morning to now, let's just put all those things aside and prepare towards our promotion aptitude test. Let's just dive into it tonight. So in the context of contemporary education, what does 21st century skills refer to? So the 21st century skills refers to critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. So as a 21st century learner or teacher, you need to possess critical thinking skills, possess collaborative skills. We also need to have creativity skills. You need to create something that is new in a learning environment. Give this video a thumbs up. So which of the following strategy can help reduce the teacher burnouts? If there are a lot of work that a teacher covers, there are a lot of activities that he deals with, there are a lot of behavioral challenges that he deals with. At the point in time he burnt out, at the point in time he gets exhausted. So one of the things that will professionally help to avoid burning out is providing a professional development and support. There should be a professional development and support for every teacher to reduce this kind of burnout in the classroom. So providing a professional development and support is one of the key areas that can help a teacher to avoid burnouts in the classroom. Then, which contemporary issues in education is mostly closely related to rapid advancement of technology? Which contemporary issue in education is mostly closely related to a rapid advancement of technology? That is digital device. That is an issue mostly associated with rapid advancement of technology. So rapid advancement of technology, the digital divide here simply means there is a gap between those who are well known in the technological advancement and those who are not exposed to it. That is the issues that they face, the challenges that they come across with. So it is very important that you know it. Now the global citizenship has its aims. It is also part of the global contemporary education issues. contemporary issues, that is the global citizenship, has its aim. And the aim that it has is that it fosters understanding of global issues and intercultural awareness. So people getting to understand global issues and how various countries with its cultures influence the members or the people in the world. So the global citizenship aims at to foster or to help individuals understand global issues and cultural intercultural awareness of every country. So it is very important that we learn global citizenship. Then in the Bloom's taxonomy, which level involve high order of thinking, which level involve high level of thinking. Now the Bloom taxonomy has been redefined or visited or revised in a way. So the C's um, level of educational objective is creativity, and creativity is one of the high level order of thinking. You need to think about new ideas, create new ideas, be innovative. So it gives a lot of thinking in whatever is being done. So it is done with a lot of thinking. It is done a lot of with taxonomy that involves a great thinking. You need to create new ideas, be innovative, and you need to think critically. So creating is one of the high thinking orders in the Bloom taxonomy, revised Bloom taxonomy. Now, John Darwin is most closely associated with what kind of educational philosophy? So, these philosophies, we have the idealism, we have liberalism, we have pragmatism or progressivism. We also have essential perennialism. We also have progressivism and the rest, reconstructions. But John Darwin has a belief in pragmatism and progressivism. So the philosophy or the philosophical association of John Darwin is with the um, progressivism, progressivism or pragmatism. So have it in mind when you meet it anywhere, you're able to do justice. Ado Joyce, you're most welcome. You're most welcome for tonight's tutorial. I decide not to share it on any platform. Right after that, I'll share it on other platform for everybody to learn. Now, which have I done with this? Which of the following is a characteristic of a well managed classroom? Well managed classroom. Characteristics of a well classroom. So a well managed classroom is a situation where there's a high level of students engagement. They follow rules, they follow procedures, they follow structures, and they um, get themselves involved in classroom activities. So the characteristics of a well managed classroom is that there's a high level of learners engagement. When you're able to manage them well in the classroom, they also get involved in learning activities. So have it in mind. Now, the which principle of learning suggests that the practice is necessary for mastering skills? Which principle of learning suggests that the practice is necessary for mastering skills? This is Thorndike learning theory. Thorndike learning theory that categorize learning theories, um, learning into three laws. Three laws. The law of practice, the law of effects, and the law of exercise. The law of practice, the law of effects, and the law of exercise. So the one that deals with the practice is called the law of exercise. The law of exercise simply means that learners need to practice several times in any activity that they are performing to be able to better understand the concept. So they need to practice all the time. So the practice is necessary for mastering skill. That is the law of exercise. The law of exercise. So have it in mind. In constructivism teaching strategy, constructivism teaching strategy often include the following. Often include so constructivism teaching strategies often include the following. Constructivism. What is their base of learning theories or learned issues? They deal with a project-based learning. Project-based learning. Learners need to involve in project activities or project work to learn and learn better. Now, let's look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it has been categorized into five um, theory of or needs under the Maslow hierarchy of needs. And it says in a Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which needs must be first met? Which needs must be first met? That is the physiological needs that you need air, you need food, you need water, you need shelter, and you need food to help you. So the physiological need is one of the very needs of Abraham Maslow's theory. We learned far back at senior high school, and we still come across with them in promotion aptitude test, and we need to also learn. So we also have self-esteem, we have safety need, and we have self-actualization. We also have the social needs. The social needs talking about love and belongingness. So you need to show love with your neighbors. So those are the five um, hierarchy of needs of Abraham Maslow. Abraham Maslow that we need to learn about before we go and write our promotion aptitude test. And which of the following is an example of an intrinsic motivation? Intrinsic motivation. What is motivation? Motivation is anything that encourages you, that gingers you, that gives you the inward feeling of doing something, or that gives you the pressure to do something. So if you are doing something and you are being praised, that is something that is added to you to ginger you to learn. So in which of the following is an example of intrinsic? We have two type of motivation: intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation, intrinsic and extrinsic motivation that we need to know. So it says which of them is an intrinsic motivation. So if learning a new language has an interest, or learning a new language out of interest is one of the extrinsic motivation. You are learning it for your interest, for your benefit, but not anybody encouraging you to do or clapping for you to do something. That is extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation. Then, which of the following is a primary purpose of formative assessment? We have done with formative assessment in many times on this platform. Formative assessment. We have types of assessment. Type of assessment, formative assessment. We also have summative diagnostic, and we also look at placement, assessment, and the rest. But when we are talking about the primary purpose of formative assessment is to give feedback to the learner and the teacher about the progress that have been made in the learning situation. So, a formative assessment is to provide an ongoing feedback to improve teaching and learning in the classroom. So, that is what formative assessment is all about. Formative assessment. Formative assessment. Now let's also look at some of the true or false questions that we may come across with them and may be struggling to answer them, and they are not all that difficult. We can answer them and answer them with ease. So let's dive into it. Now, the digital divide refers to the gap between students with access to modern students with communication technologies and those without communication technology. As I look at it at the up there, that questions. So when we talk about digital divide, that is a situation where some of modern learners are having access to technological devices like laptop, like tablets, and any learning tools that will help them. But others are not having the opportunity to have access to these these tools and divide them. That is a digital divide. So it says, is the answer true or false? The answer is true. It's true. What does STEM stand for? STEM. So those who are going to write GD, the fill in, you need to learn about this abbreviation, STEM. What does STEM stand for? STEM stand for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So it says that STEM in education includes the study of science, technology, English, and mathematics. True or false? The answer is false because they don't do English. They don't do English. They rather do engineering. So STEM, STEM, STEM. That is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And now it is moving from the top to the down. So it is false. Now, what is a flip classroom model? Flip classroom model. So a flip classroom model typically involves students doing homework in a classroom and watching lectures at home. Watching less. That is a mode um, or flip classroom mode. That is true. Now in Ghana, the 21st century skills are limited to technical and vocational skills. They are not limited to technical and vocational skills. No, they are involved in all the learning areas. So English, the 21st century skills are applied. That is critical thinking, collaborative skills, and creativity, then innovation. These are skills that are involved in all the subject. It's not only limited to technical and vocational skills. Now let's look at this. One of the challenges of the COVID-19 pandemic for educational system has been the need to transition to root learning solution, true or false. Root learning solution is false. You can still do the practicals. You can still do the practical. Now, the Ghana Education Service was established as part of the public service law in Ghana, uh, and in Ghana in 1974, true or false. Ghana Education Service was established as part of the public service of Ghana in 1974. The answer is true. It was established in 1974 and it is also part of the public service. So any institution or any profession dealing with a service is part of the public service. That is true. The Ministry of Education is solely responsible for higher education in Ghana. It is so the word solely there negate the entire question, and the answer is false. It is not only the Ministry of Education that is solely responsible for high education. We also have Ghana Tertiary Education that is also responsible or that has the functions of managing the high level of education. So it's not only the Ministry of Education. So have it in mind. The Director General is the head of Ghana Education Service. True or false? Is true. So Ghana Education Service is being headed by the the Director General. So it's true. The National Teaching Council for Curriculum and Assessment is responsible for developing curriculum for tertiary education. So anytime you are reading the questions, always be very careful. Always be very careful. So when we are talking about curriculum development, it is the NACA. It's NACA that deals with it. That is the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment. But if it says it's deal with the tertiary, it is false. It developed curriculum for the pre-tertiary education institutions. So the answer there is false. So have it in mind. The free compulsory universal basic education policy aims to provide free tertiary education in Ghana. No, the answer is false. It does not do that. What it does is that it provides opportunities to learners as at the pre-tertiary institutions to help them develop their potential. So the answer there is false. It does not provide free tertiary education in Ghana. Have it in mind. In Ghana, the education strategic plan aims to provide equitable access to quality education for all Ghanaian learners. It's true, it has three main functions that it performs, um, giving access and participation to learners, then improving teaching and learning, and the last one is accountability and financial management in the pre-tertiary or education system in Ghana. So the answer is true. The strategic, the education strategic plan aims to provide equitable access to quality education for all Ghanaians learners. So have it in mind. We meet it at any point in time. Now let's look at, according to Maslow hierarchy, the self-actualization is the highest needs. True or false? The answer is true. The answer is true. So we have the physiological needs, we have the safety needs, we have the the social need, that is love and belonging. Then we also have self-esteem, and self-actualization. So the highest one is the self-actualization. Self-actualization is the highest one. So the answer is true. In behaviorism emphasizes the role of internal mental state in learning. So when we are talking about learning theories, I said learning theories, you must be very careful with them. So questions can just set around them, and if you are not covered them, you find yourself wanting. So when we are talking about mental, internal mental state in learning, this is a cognitive learning theory. It is not about behaviorism. No, it's not about behaviorism. This one is talking about Piaget, Jean Piaget. That is mental states, the internal mental states. That is the schemes or schemata. So have it in mind. Now, constructivist teaching often involves hands-on experiential learning, true or false? The answer is true. So constructivism, they always believe that learners should learn by practice, learn by doing. So hands-on activities, experiential learning activities. Now, intrinsic motivation is driven by, extrinsic motivation is driven by external reward or avoidance of punishment. True or false? The answer is true there. So external or extrinsic motivation deal with motivation that comes outside um, the person, not within, not the person learning for his or her interest. But this one, it is based on something influencing him or her to learn. Give this video a thumbs up. Give this video a thumbs up. Like this video is very important. Now, positive reinforcement can be used to encourage desirable behavior in the classroom. True or false? The answer is true. So we can also use reinforcement using clapping, giving reward, then giving awards to learners, encouraging them, clapping for them can bring about a desirable outcome, desirable behavior or outcome. Give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe. If you double tap on the screen, it will the like will show on the screen. Cognitivism focuses on observable behavior rather than the mental process. This one is false. It is false. Cognitivism, they deal with the internal mental of the learner, dealing with the mind, learning with the mind. But behavioralism, they deal with observing the things and imitating or copying or learning. So cognitivism focus on observable behavior rather than the mental process. The answer is false. They deal with observation. Um, Cognitivism deal with the mental processing. Mental processing. So have it in mind. The answer is false. Now let's look at this question. Formative assessment are used primarily for evaluating a complete instructional program. This one too is false. So it says that formative assessment are primarily to evaluate a complete instructional program, meaning that at the end of the program, and it is false. It is done in a bit progressively while learning is ongoing. formative assessment is done, and it is false. It is not evaluated at the end of the instructional program. Now, non-referent assessment compares students' performance to the predetermined standards or criteria. True or false? The answer is false because non-referent assessment is a type of assessment that compares the learning performance or the learner's performance with their normative group or their groups. But criterion referent assessment compares the learner's performance against the set standard or the predetermined standard. Now, let's look at a valid assessment. What is valid assessment? Valid assessment accurately measures what it is intended to measure. True or false? The answer is true. So when we are talking about validity of assessment or validity of a test, we are talking about the test interpretation and its usefulness, its intended purpose. So a valid assessment accurately measures what it is intended. So the moment you see intended, that is um, validity, and the answer is true. Summative assessment are typically registered during instructional process to provide immediate feedback. Summative assessment are typically administered during the instructional process to provide immediate feedback. The answer is false. This one, the one that provide feedback is formative assessment. So summative assessment um, is not an instructional, it's not done during instructional process. This one, it is done at the end of the complete course, complete semester, complete program, or at the end of the academic year. At the end of the academic year, and it is very important you look at it. So the answer is false. Now, diagnostic assessment helps in identify students' proud knowledge and misconception before instructions begin. True or false? The answer is true. So we use diagnostic assessment to see the learner's strengths, the learner's weaknesses, and try to provide solutions to or try to tailor the lesson towards their strengths and their weaknesses to help them. So the answer is true. Diagnostic assessment helps identify students' proud knowledge and misconception before instructions begins. The answer is true. So have it in mind. Now, inclusive education seeks to provide equal educational opportunities for all students regardless of their ability or disability. True or false? True or false? The answer is true. So inclusive education, it includes all diverse of learners or diverse of individuals in the learning environment. So whether ability or disability, they are all involved in the classroom to learn. So that's this what we have for you this evening. So the answer is true. The answer is true. Inclusive education seeks to provide equal educational opportunities for all students, regardless of their abilities or disability. This is what we have for you tonight. Have a good evening. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe. Come back again tomorrow. We shall meet. God bless everybody. Have a good night. Bye bye.